It's fun because things are actually happening. Very different than most of the time when people get elected.
And I will shut down the federal Department of Education, and we will move everything back to the state.
Most of the time when people get elected, they claim all these things when they're running for president. Then they get into office and not much changes.
Individualize education and do it with the love for their children.
And in fact, a lot of what they campaigned on, they don't practice at all. Great example is the Obama administration. The Hope and Change website had to be changed because there was a bunch of stuff in there about whistleblowers.
I don't think Mr. Snowden was a patriot. I called for a thorough review of our surveillance operations before Mr. Snowden made these leaks. My preference would have been for a lawful, orderly examination of these laws.
Protecting whistleblowers, which they didn't do at all. There was one of the worst administrations for whistleblowers.
What happens when Joe Rogan zeroes in on Barack Obama? Let's just say Hope and Change got knocked out cold by elk meat and DMT. Rogan didn't just call him out, he absolutely dismantled him, turning the former president into a walking TED Talk on what asterisk not asterisk to do when facing reality. Think presidential speeches are smooth. Wait until you hear Joe tear them apart with nothing more than a protein shake and a skeptical stare. Buckle up, this roast lands harder than Obama's. Drone strikes.
Obama did it, and it's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. Let's play it.
Said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists. Okay?
See, that's crazy. I have never seen that last part of it
because the news has said that lie over and over and over and over.
Barack Obama strutted through his 8 years in office like that guy at the gym who spends 40 minutes flexing in the mirror, but can't even lift a bag of marshmallows. He preached hope, change, and unity with all the dramatic flair of a motivational poster duct taped to a sinking ship. While the world burned around him, he grinned like it was just another comedy roast streaming on Netflix. He had the smoothest delivery, zero accountability, and somehow walked away with a Nobel Peace Prize like it was a party favor handed out at a warlord's birthday celebration, asterisk.
Can I get a glass of water? I'm serious. I'm thirsty. Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank.
You never seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's amazing.
No.
He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this.
Problem
He's
is solved.
bullshitting the world. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? What? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him. No, you bring a fucking water on stage with you.
Joe Rogan didn't even come in swinging. He simply leaned back, raised an eyebrow, and launched one of those signature Rogan curveballs, and just like that, the unraveling began. Obama started glitching like a Wi-Fi router buried in a basement. All that polished charm gone. In seconds, the calm, composed icon transformed into a glitchy spokesperson pitching expired hope. Rogan didn't roast him, he took him apart, one piece at a time, until all that remained was a suit, a smile, and a complete lack of answers, asterisk.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter. And
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie.
Obama was supposed to be a revolutionary, but instead, he turned into the guy who shows up at the revolution, snaps a selfie, and sells the footage to Netflix. Beneath all that eloquence and Spotify-curated swagger was a politician so mass-produced. He made IKEA furniture seem handcrafted. This is the same guy who could give a 40-minute sermon on empathy, then authorize a drone strike before the applause even stopped echoing. He preached peace the same way fast food joints promote health technically. True, but served with a deep-fried side of contradiction, asterisk, asterisk.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter.
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie.
Meanwhile, Joe Rogan ripped straight through Barack Obama's polished image using nothing but logic and that classic Rogan style, a mix of genuine curiosity and are you seriously saying that? He didn't need data charts or think tank lingo just. One well-timed question like, wait, isn't that completely nuts? And suddenly, the Obama legacy started shaking like a house of cards stacked on drone strikes. This is the same guy who promised his presidency would be defined by transparency, only to leave behind a surveillance state so bloated it might as well have its own zip code. It's like saying you'll clean out your attic, but instead installing a conveyor belt that dumps in even more junk. And yes, let's talk drones. Obama treated those like missile-loaded fidget spinners. While the rest of the world was busy slicing fruit on their phones, he was out there playing Missile Command. Joe broke it down perfectly. If your definition of a win still leaves people selling their cars just to pay for stitches, maybe it's not really a win. When seeing a doctor requires a 90-minute tutorial, 3 logins, and a decoder ring from a cereal box just to figure out the cost, you're not fixing the system, you're designing a bureaucratic escape room, and somehow, Barack managed to sell all of that with a smile.
See that? He sips it like this. He barely drank it.
There you go. Generally, I have not been doing stunts here, but, you know.
Watch this. What was that?
It just confirms Flint water is drinkable.
Get him gallons of that and then monitor his diarrhea.
He wants Hitler's generals to take over, and he's genuinely dangerous. Cut to yesterday and the two of them. There they are chatting. Barack's laughing, genuinely laughing, to where like his body is shaking.
And let's not forget the economy. Obama rode the recovery wave like a kid, acting like he built the roller coaster. Joe Rogan's take. More like congrats on surviving the crash you did nothing to prevent than patting yourself on the back for not immediately setting the house on fire again. Obama had a way of spinning a recession into some kind of personal growth journey. Unemployment spiked? That's a teachable moment. Wages flatlined? That's just resilience training, baby. And then there's the race issue. Obama had a once-in-a-generation opportunity to truly bridge the divide, but instead, he basically poured vegan essential oils on a dumpster fire and called it aromatherapy. He played both sides like a DJ trying to please the boomers and the TikTok generation at the same party. 1 minute, he's dropping beats for the progressives, and the next, he's moonwalking back into the corporate donor lounge the second the lights came on. One day he's the face of change, and the next he's pocketing million-dollar checks from the very banks that turned economic collapse into a household phrase. Rogan didn't laugh because it was funny, he laughed because the absurdity was so surreal it made satire pointless. Obama became the remix of hope, but with accountability so auto-tuned, you could barely recognize it. Asterisk.
That he's a Netflix producer, along with his 8-petaled wife, Michelle. He's producing more racial division. The latest is called Leave the World Behind. It's a fictional thriller about the collapse of technology and what humans would do with no phones or computers. The movie follows a family on vacation at a rental house, and one night they're visited by a father and a daughter who show up seeking shelter. They say their phones no longer work and they need a place to stay. So immediately the white family, because they're evil, that's encoded in their DNA of course, is suspicious of the visitors because they're black. And it goes on and on and on like this. Here's a clip.
I'm asking for you to remember that if the world falls apart, trust should not be dulled out easily to anyone, especially white people.
Can't trust white people. They're evil. This is the guy, remember, who became famous at the Democratic Convention in 2004 by telling us there is no white America, there's no black America, it's just one America. But of course, that's not really a profit model in politics, is it? So he's been stoking race hatred ever since, and the disarray around us is the result.
Joe didn't need a PhD in political science. a polished think tank, or a swarm of Ivy League interns to cut through the performative nonsense. All he needed was a mic, 2 working brain cells, and the guts to say what half of America was already thinking while the other half was tweeting out hope hashtags from the comfort of their Teslas. Meanwhile, Obama was busy rolling out the literary version of a Netflix reboot *** memoir 2, Electric Boogaloo ***, because nothing says I'm still just like you quite like a $65 million book deal and a mega-sized foundation that claims to uplift communities while selling $80 coffee mugs and curated inspirational playlists. So what has the Obama Foundation actually achieved? Uplifted communities, tri-uplifted egos, overpriced speeches, and branding so intense it makes Amazon look humble. It's like the Avengers, but instead of fighting villains, they wear tailored suits and talk about systemic change while posing for cinematic drone shots. At this point, the only thing Obama has successfully elevated is the country's tolerance for motivational word salads, and let's not forget climate change. This is the same man who bought beachfront property presumably so he could personally monitor the rising sea levels he once warned us about, because nothing says urgent global crisis like building your dream mansion right on the spot that's allegedly about to go underwater.
Obama went on stage and he roasted Trump.
Donald Trump is here tonight.
And one of the lines he said to Trump, he said, "I'm one thing that you'll never be, which is the president of the United States."
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
And you could see Trump in his head going, okay, I'm going to run now. That one moment where Obama was talking shit to him might be the reason why Trump was like, I'll show you.
It's like giving a TED Talk on fire safety while flipping burgers on a gasoline grill, or urging people to abandon a sinking Titanic while you lounge in a hot tub on deck, sipping Dom Perignon and reminding everyone to compost their panic. And when it came to foreign policy, Obama's so-called measured approach basically looked like tossing out military contracts like Halloween candy at a Lockheed Martin-sponsored block party. He'd drone strike wedding celebrations and then send out heartfelt condolences as if empathy alone could reassemble innocent civilians. The media adored Obama the way a teenage girl idolizes a boy band blindly, obsessively, and without asking a single hard question. Rogan, meanwhile, asked the one thing mainstream journalists seem to forget entirely. Why? Why did Wall Street keep getting richer? Why did healthcare become even more of a maze? Why did everyday Americans still feel like they were sprinting through financial quicksand with bricks tied to their ankles? Obama treated politics like a never-ending photo op flash a smile, wave to the crowd, drop a few lines from All Green, then quietly sign bills that handed corporations the keys to the kingdom, all while calling it progress. Rogan called him out not with rage, but with clarity, completely unfazed by the glitz. Joe doesn't care if you can sing ... Do you
remember when they gave that speech, when he gave a speech on television, and everybody was like, this, and then they go, it kind of just went away.
It was one of the most beautiful moments in modern American history. People really actually stood up and stopped a war from happening.
Today, I authorize the Armed Forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya in support of an international effort to protect Libyan civilians.
He cares if your policies crush the average Joe the one to broke to afford your beautifully packaged failures. And let's not even crack open the Pandora's box of censorship. Under Obama, the surveillance state didn't just grow, it exploded into a full-blown Orwellian funhouse packed with backdoor access, mass data sweeps, and enough political spin to make the NSA look like your neighborhood's friendly data librarian. The most infuriating part? Obama still carries himself like he's the adult in the room, the wise father figure of democracy, while the country's been grounded for over a decade, surviving on instant noodles and shattered promises. Rogan's takedown wasn't loud or theatrical, it was surgical. And then there's that smug detachment. Obama delivers speeches like he's narrating a Ken Burns documentary about a nation he used to care about. He's not angry, he's just deeply, almost cosmically, disappointed.
Obama's last tweet from Saturday which is the day this had unleashed, when it started overnight Friday, was for decades, Narges Mohammadi has been a vocal advocate for women and girls in Iran. This Nobel Prize is a well-deserved recognition of her courage and the hope that she represents not only for women in Iran, but women fighting repression and violence around the world. How about the women who actually were the victim of repression and violence in Israel? No words for them. Former President Obama, nothing to say about the children being murdered in Israel. So far, I guess he couldn't find time to actually use his little thumbs and tweet something.
But Joe Rogan doesn't fall for the performance. He sees the man who cashed in, sold out, and now plays America's Netflix dad, the one who shows up for special appearances and preaches responsibility from the comfort of a vineyard. If hypocrisy had a brand ambassador, it would be Obama sipping kombucha in a custom leather chair, talking about systemic injustice while inking deals with the very system's top beneficiaries. Rogan isn't swayed by the polished image or the Ivy League vocabulary. He knows a con when he sees one, especially the kind that grins while picking your pocket and calls it a lesson in growth. Obama's entire political persona was basically a TED Talk marinated in corporate sponsorship. Rogan's takedown wasn't some angry rant, it was a beer-fueled truth grenade thrown directly into the echo chamber of elite self-congratulation. While Obama curated Spotify playlists to seem down-to-earth, Joe was having conversations with astrophysicists, conspiracy theorists, neuroscientists, and stand-up comics, and somehow still made more sense in a single podcast than Obama managed. In 8 years of State of the Union addresses, asterisk,
volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto.
And now, Obama drifts through the public eye like a philosophical butterfly never too involved, always conveniently reflective, offering poetic insights like a professor who hasn't graded a single paper since the Bush era. But Rogan's so right. Through the branding, the same way a teenager sees through an inspirational poster taped to the wall of a detention center. He didn't need to shout, and he definitely didn't need a teleprompter. All he had to do was ask if this guy was. The answer, then what was the question? And the silence that followed spoke louder than any campaign slogan ever could, asterisk.
Still just as bitter as ever. There's such a great new spin of complaints here. Here's one from her most recent episode, which still on YouTube, she's got like 200,000 subscribers. It's really amazing that now she's been doing this for how many episodes? She's been literally on every podcast of the left wing promoting it. And that's still all she's managed to get. Here she is interviewing Dr. Sharon Malone, perhaps better known as former Attorney General Eric Holder's wife. And therein lies the problem, as these two ladies married to two very famous men are pissed that they are not the alpha in terms of popularity and recognition.
At the end of the day, Obama might have convinced half the world that he was the political messiah, but Joe Rogan didn't even have to try. All he had to do was laugh, because when the emperor isn't just naked but selling branded merch about his nudity, sometimes the only thing left to do is hold up a mirror. And Rogan held up a mirror so brutally honest, Obama's reflection probably considered filing a defamation lawsuit. While Barack continues to bask in the glow of his carefully crafted legacy, delivering speeches nobody asked for and recording podcasts nobody finished, Rogan cuts through it all with the most dangerous weapon out there: truth, dipped in sarcasm. The myth of Obama may still echo in headlines, but Rogan buried the reality beneath a mountain of no-nonsense, common-sense observations, one podcast at a time.